Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Grants and Contracts podcast. I'm your co host, Lainey.
And this is Abraham. It's good to see all of you here. If you are joining us live, it's exciting to have you all of you join us live. And if you're watching this on replay, thanks for watching this on replay.
Yes, we're so excited today. We are joining you from Georgia if you're jumping on or if replay. Put where you're coming from. So put your name, your business, and where you're joining us from. We love to see everybody coming in from different parts of the nation and different parts of the world. So, Abe, what has been going on with you recently? I know we talked about pickleball a lot. I don't know if you did have a tournament on Friday. Any updates on that?
Yes. Before we go into my pickleball journey, quickly as a side note, if you're joining us, we're going to be talking about fourth quarter opportunities and the most important two things that you should be doing right now because we are in the fourth quarter of the
Yep.
fiscal year for the federal government. We are in the first quarter for the state. And so we're going to be talking about the fiscal year, the most important things you should be doing now. That's what we're going to be talking about today's podcast. But I do want to give a little bit about my pickleball journey. So this past weekend, I have to say I played against a 9-year-old pickleball phenom and he beat me up. I lost to a 9-year-old.
Oh,
Can you believe that?
wow. I wonder how long he's been playing you know, I was like, is pickleball older than the 9-year-old? Is what I'm wondering.
Well, assuming he's been playing since the last 3 years, in pickleball years, 3 years is like 30 years in pickleball years, I guess.
That is so funny. Well, thank you for everyone joining us. I know we have someone from Maryland joining us, which is exciting. Um, I'm really excited today to talk about, the fourth quarter opportunities because this was something when I started in government contracting, I was a new graduate of CCM, which is a course that we teach about government contracting. And this was one of the things, Abe, when we were working together doing coaching that you had explained to me about of we're going to the fourth quarter. What does that look like? And that there is going to be spending that happens. And I think this year, and I'm interested to dive into this as well, is that because there was a freeze for so many months, I think fourth quarter could possibly be the biggest spending we see in the fourth quarter because of that freeze we saw at the beginning of the year.
That's true. We've from January, since the new Trump administration came in, contracts, the focus have been cutting contracts, uh, reducing the federal spending to some degree in as it relates to contracting opportunity. We've probably seen about billions of, I think last we looked at is about $7-8 billion that have been cut. A lot of small businesses were impacted by that. A lot of contracts have not been awarded during the last 6-7 months. Now this is a time where we are in the fourth quarter. Just for a side note for all of you, the calendar year for you as a business owner is generally January till December 31st. But the federal government, the contracting fiscal year starts on October 1st and ends on September 30th. So July 1st begins the fourth quarter, which about 35% historically, 35% of awards are made during the fourth quarter. And we go into what's called a spend it or lose it mindset. And agencies are allocated a budget. And if they don't spend that budget, guess what happens? They lose it. So
Yes.
this is your
So
opportunity
something
to jump into the fourth quarter.
this always makes me think about, and I know we talked about state is a little bit different than federal, but I can remember in school, I went to a Title I school, and that just meant that, I think now there's a lot more resources back than when I was in school, but we did not have, I went to a very old my building was very old, and, a lot of times the resources that other schools had, we just didn't have it. And something we always thought, and I mean, the teachers would talk to us about this, is when it came like April, May, so we're getting into school, they would start bringing in these massive, like, flat screen TVs or, like, just, like, the most insane technology would start pouring in, and we're like, "We haven't had paper for the past 3 months, but y'all are bringing in because they had a budget, and if it wasn't used, they were gonna lose it." And so, this is, like, what it makes me think of when I think about spend it or lose it, because we would be like, "Why are we getting a this?" Or it would be random stuff, like, it really would, and they would be like, "Because if the school doesn't spend it, then they don't get it next year." And so it was just always a funny thing of, like, what's gonna come in the door next with this idea of the spend it or lose it. Um, Abe, I do wanna ask a question. Is there, like, a historical significance why they have their 4th quarter starting in July, or is it kinda just something that happened and then they didn't? I know it probably has to do with, we see a lot of slowing down around the holidays, but I don't know if kind of like the true historical significance behind it.
Well, part of it is we have legislators, and then they have to approve the budget. And
Okay.
so, for planning purposes, fiscal years is more a what we call a budget year. So it's not necessarily the calendar year. Most businesses operate off of the calendar year. I assume most of you who are small business owner, you operate out of the calendar year. State agencies, their fiscal year starts in Jul- July 1st as the first calendar day of their fiscal budget year. The federal government, they use October 1st. And again, this is our fourth quarter right now. Legislators have to plan in advance. So they can't use the calendar year to do their planning and their budgeting cycle. So they use the fiscal year so that they can plan it and then approve the budget, and then spending starts related to the. So it's more for planning purposes and for budgeting allocation, to make sure that appropriations are done early, even though the spending is done, on we call it a fiscal year, but it's really spent all throughout the year. The most of the spending just happens to be in the fourth quarter. Going back to what we said, that if they don't spend it, they next fiscal year allocation, they potentially risk losing that money, because if the agency, the directors, they have to defend why they need more funding for their agency. And if they can't defend it because, hey, we have billions of dollars sitting around, then legislation is going to reallocate that there for other purposes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what, I guess let's dive in. If you're just joining us, welcome. We're talking about 4th quarter spending. Make sure to drop, your name and your business in the chat. And also, if you ever have any questions when we're talking about something, add that in the chat as well, and we'll make sure to look at that. Abe, what would be your advice, if you are a government contractor, maybe you just started government contracting, maybe you've been in it for a long time, we're headed into the 4th quarter. What is your advice for these government contractors coming in? What are the biggest takeaways that they should have from this podcast?
Yeah, so there's two key things we're going to cover today. One is, we call this a contracting season. And so I'm going to share my screen here, and to really illustrate what I mean by contracting season. And then we're going to talk about two key things you have to do during contracting season. Number one is writing proposals. So we're going to share with you, and using AI to help you streamline this process a little bit. So we're going to share with you how, this is the time where you write a lot of proposals. It's not time to build relationship. It's not time to find teaming partners. It's not time to do a lot of different things. It's just cranking out proposals for these last few months here. That's the key thing you have to do. The other key thing you have to do is getting sole source contract. We're going to talk about what are some specific things you have to do to get some sole source contracts during the fourth quarter. But I'm going to go to usaspending.gov to illustrate in terms of the historical spending cycle, and then we'll go into the sourcing opportunities and cranking out proposals. So in usaspending.gov, If you are a user of the site, keep using it. If you haven't used usaspending.gov yet, this is where the federal agency have to report back to the citizens, because we as taxpayers, we can see where a lot of agencies are spending their funding, whether it's through contracts or through grants or through loans given out to different organizations, different businesses. Uh, this is the portal where we see all of that. By knowing the historical spending patterns, you can plan for the future. So if
Yeah.
I'm on usaspending.gov, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, check on fiscal year. I want to look at one fiscal year to see how much they award as contracts. And so just so that I can see and what the patterns are as it relates to throughout this whole year. So that's what I'm going to do. Now you can do this based upon agencies. You can do this here based upon your NAICS code, your industry. Um, so if we look at this here, they awarded 5.8 million contracts last year.
Wow.
So that's the first thing we want to look at. Then the next item, I'm going to scroll down here. You can see that DoD awarded the most contract, $445 billion. And then I'm going to come down here. But what I really want to do is I want to look at in terms of spending. Remember, we said that the fourth quarter was the most. So September, $131 billion was awarded back in September. So these are the three. If you add up these 3 months here, the bulk of it is done through this 3 months here, which is the last quarter itself. So, this is a Verizon chart, right? As the months progress towards the end of the fiscal year, lots of money is awarded. So that's the first thing I want to show you. Next is I'm going to have Lainey share with you how to source opportunity fast during the fourth quarter so that you can quickly find what's a match, what's not a match. And then based upon that, you can use technology to help you to quickly source opportunities and to respond to them.
Yes. So I'm going to share my screen. And we are using a business example for this today. And so we are on MK Strategy Group. Their main thing that they do is supplies, medical supplies. So I clicked here, and this is a great website too to see that, if we go home, this is what it looks like when we're first here. But then they have this government tab here. And if you don't have a government tab yet on your website, I would really suggest putting one on there. It's easy to come to, if a contracting officer, you've been on something, they can easily come to the government. Their capability statement is right here, ready to download, ready to print off, and it has what they do, their UEI number, and I bet it's down here. Yeah. Put your NAICS codes, put all your certifications so it's easy to find. This one is clean, easy to find. I think it looks great. So I've already downloaded their capability statement, and I'll show you that right quick. And we have some templates for this, but this is a great capability statement as well. And I've downloaded this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their primary NAICS code, which is this code right here, and medical equipment and supplies. I went into sam.gov, which is where you're going to find opportunities. There's more places to find opportunities. We have GovGenie, and I feel like we'll probably talk about some other, if not today, we're having the top 10 GovCon websites next week as our podcast. So you'll have to be sure to join in next Wednesday. But I went in here and I've added this as the NAICS code, and it's coming up with contracting opportunities. So what I want to do here is I'm going to pick, there was one that I had decided. I'm going to pick, it has an open response right now. It's this run DNA purchase. So I'm going to click on this, and I am going to download this PDF. So this PDF is going to, Abe, do you think I should pick another one since this is in, or do you think this is a good opportunity to run on?
Well, is this? It says a special note. Is not a solicitation. So you go back and look for one that's a specific solicitation.
Okay.
Yep, keep going. Okay, so that one sources sought. Sources sought mini audiometric hearing booths. What's the next one? Let's see here. The sources sought ISB, IEE contractor to purchase brand name only watch. Keep going. Let's try to find one that is a yeah. So there, the next one, the pre-solicitation 3M. Uh, okay, so all these are expired. Use another NAICS code that they have. Their
Okay.
primary code only pull up 18. So let's use a different NAICS code that will be a better match for them.
I'm going to do this pharmacy NAICS code right here and put that in
Yeah.
and see what that comes up with.
And what we're doing here is, this is what you go through, right? As a business, this is fourth quarter. So the most important thing you want to do is find opportunities and submit proposal or submit quotes. And so this is a live demo here. And so what we're using here as an example.
So let's do, I think this one. Mm.
Yep, all these are response date are all expired because the current response date.
Okay, this one says August 28th.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so that one's that's a potential one.
So let's look at this one. It's loading. And we are going to download the information about this. So we're going to show you what we're going to do with this. So this is the information. I'm going to show this screen, and it is the solicitation/order for these products. So this is for pharmacy, so it is a little bit different because they're wanting very specific pharmaceutical products. So what we are going to do is we're actually going to go over to Perplexity. So I have actually really been enjoying Perplexity lately and using it for things like this, for data, for research. Just I used to only be ChatGPT, and Abe said, "Hey, let's expand our horizons on the AI front." And I've really been enjoying Perplexity. But we are going to come in here, and first, what we want to do is we want to make sure we're doing the prompt correct. So prompt engineering is a big deal when you are dealing with AI. Yes, you can just ask it a simple question, but the better prompt that you give it, the better response you're going to get. So you can tell it to act as somebody. You can kind of give it a lot of steps to do so you can get a very specific answer. So Abe's going to help me with this prompt. I consider him like the king of prompt engineering for the government contracting because he has played around with this and knows some good ways to get some results. So
Sure. So for many of you, if you're on ChatGPT, you can use that. You can use Grok. You can use Gemini. You can use Perplexity. Many different tools out there. For this example, we're using Perplexity. I like Perplexity for one main reason. It searches the internet in real time. That's one of the advantages. Now, there's other tools out there that will search the internet in real time as well. So the first prompt here is we're going to say act like an expert proposal writer. Proposal writer. And then next sentence, please review my website and then put in the link to MK Strategy Group. And then also please review my capability statement and then upload the capability statement.
Hmm. I think I can continue with Google.
You know what? Let me log in because I'm already logged in. I'll do on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, since it's asking you to log in and so forth. So let me share my screen and I'll log in on my end. That way you don't have to go through the sign in process again. All right, so give me 1 second. Let me pull up my screen here.
Oh, I have it now. So we
You
can
have it?
keep on
Oh,
my screen just because I have all the downloads and everything.
okay.
So
All right. Yeah, let's do that then.
we'll keep it on here. So I'm gonna zoom in again and tell it to act as a proposal writer. Um,
And
what
then
was
please review my website and then put in the link. And what we're doing here is we're trying to have AI help us quickly review the opportunity to see if it's a good match for us. That's the first step that we're going to do. Because there's some opportunity is 80, 90 pages and you don't have time to review everything. So we're using AI to help you to review and then review my cable statement, see the attached, and then upload the cable statement.
okay?
And then the next prompt is um, also review the attached solicitation and then attach the solicitation on there. All right. And then the next sentence is I want to see if our company is a good match for this solicitation. And then the final statement um, re, um, review all the information and make a determination should we and make a determination to see if this is a match or not. And then just enter or click the arrow button and see what it tells us.
Right. So it's reading our two attached files.
Okay, so it's giving us a summary of what it's learned. So it's saying core competency relevant to the solicitation. And then scroll down some more.
I was seeing where it was getting just I had read it really fast. It's saying that
Mhm.
it's a set aside for service disabled veterans. Um, and I'm interested where it pulled that from because on the solicitation it doesn't have that checked.
And then scroll down to the bottom. Let's see what it recommends, right?
Okay.
Okay, so it
I
gives
think
us a little check mark.
I think it's taking it because MK is certified disabled. So I think they're saying like
Mhm.
it could be is what it's saying.
So it gives us a question mark for the ISO 7 certified engineering control. So it needs more clarification on that.
But this is really cool that it's pulling this chart like this because as some people, and maybe you can put it in the chat if this has had to be you. This has had to be me before going through 80 pages and making my own Excel spreadsheet where I say, okay, I can do like, I remember one was that everybody had to have up-to-date drug test on file on the, work site. Okay, I can do that. And then checking all the ones and, reading through the 84 pages. So this is doing it for you, so you do not have to read through 84 pages on 100 opportunities in the 4th quarter and can just move forward with writing your proposal. So then it's saying, key considerations. So it's saying that they align strongly overall.
Okay. So this is the first step, right? So you want to do this for all the opportunities that you find. So now AI is telling us most likely this is a good match for us. Then let's move on to the next prompt, right? Assuming that you looked at 10 different opportunities and you do find one that's a good match. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the next prompt of how to use AI to help you with proposals. And so I'm going to prompt it. Um, the the prompt I want to give it is uh, review the solicitation using the attached documents and also the link provided by the agency, and then you want to copy the SAM link that related back to this project. And then the next sentence is create a requirement list of the items that we need to prepare a proposal response. And then go ahead and hit enter or the button.
Right? So will it pull additional downloads like from that sam.gov if we didn't give them to it?
Um, it will not pull addition. It will only review the attachments that we give it. It will
Okay.
read everything that's in SAM that's not an attachment. If we wanted to read the attachment, we have to uh, download the attachment and upload it into here. The same way we did with the solicitation here.
Okay. Will it ask for one? Like, for example, if it pulled one, will it say, I need to see this attachment, or no, it won't. It'll kind of just give off the information we give it.
Only if we prompted to do that.
Okay. So
So
yeah,
it's
so it's
giving us a list
yeah.
here. Now, item 3, right, is asking for 3 past performance references. So this is a issue that some of you who are small businesses, if you don't have 3 references, then you should find a teaming partner, or you may not qualify to bid on this here. Some projects does not require that. It's talking about you need a pricing submission, and
60 days.
and then it says, that we need to provide proof that we're a veteran and so forth. Go back up a little bit. Let me go back up to the first few item, the technical proposal capability statement. Ask a question. Are we required to submit a technical proposal response to this solicitation? any questions you have related to this here, it will tell you, yes, you're required, right? And then what you want to do next is, because it does require a technical response, then uh, our next prompt would be create a technical proposal response outline, technical proposal response outline, um, making sure that it meets all of the requirements of this solicitation. And then go ahead and enter. And then it's going to give us an outline, because we don't want it to write the technical response yet. We just want it to create an outline first. And that way we know how to address each part of the outline.
Cover page.
Yep. So this is our technical response. So assuming we want to address the, scroll down a little bit further. Okay, so let's assume we want to address the technical approach and methodology. So now we can have AI to help us to write each specific subtopic area. So our next prompt would be, in item B, technical approach and methodology, or in section B, more so, in section B, technical approach and methodology. Write out a technical, write out a detailed technical response to each of the listed requirement using industry best standards and our company's capabilities. Now, in a perfect world, you would have uploaded your own technical response example in there. So, for example, I would say, instead of just saying using our company's capability, I would say reference the example of a previous proposal that we've submitted, our technical approach in that opportunity there. So if I give it an example of the past, it can actually reference a previous technical response that we've submitted on other projects, and it will give me a better proposal response. But in this situation, since we didn't have that, so go ahead and hit enter and see
Yeah.
what it gives us.
And we're just doing an example right here, but when I'm actually using, AI for this or kind of the research and stuff, I'm wanting to feed it as much of my own information that it's going to need to kind of create these pieces. So, like you want it to learn your writing, you want it to learn, like you're saying, your what your company does or your technical approaches, or maybe you use this type, for example, in the pharmacy, you use a specific type of pharmaceutical tools that maybe makes you stand out, and you want it to learn all of that, and you're going to feed that. And that's why it's great. Even with Perplexity, I don't know if y'all saw that a few minutes ago, it can come up with your own a space, so it's going to kind of file those away, those research, when you're talking about, maybe it's a specific NAICS code, or you have three different sectors of your business. You can kind of have different spaces for those when you're looking at proposals.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So this is it's your technical proposal response. Now, let me say this. This is super important. So if you're watching this here, please hear out this comment here. Do not submit this technical response as it is, because AI is prone, what they call it, AI, they use a term, not illusion, but AI, oh, there's a terminology that they use. Um, you want to humanize
Mhm.
this document here. So if you just submit as it is, contracting officer sometime will run your proposal through a AI checker. Sometimes they don't, depending on the agency itself. But if it sounds like AI, then they're going to think it's AI. So you want to humanize it. Now, there's other tools. You can ask AI to humanize this here. In fact, let's ask AI to humanize the technical proposal
Was
response here.
was the word you were looking for? Is it called AI hallucination?
Yes, yes, AI
Okay.
hallucinate. So sometimes,
Santosh in our chat, he added that. And also, I
perfect.
like to say this as a grant writer and an English major. I think it's funny on some of the whatever you're on discourse on AI. A lot of English people and artists and everything. I think it's funny. So me and Abe share a commonality. My sister-in-law goes to SCAD. His two kids go to SCAD. So we get to talk about, SCAD things. And I'm interested if your kids. My sister-in-law hates AI because she's like, it's stealing art and our jobs. And I feel like that's probably what the professors have poured into them, instead of using it for good. But I say all that just to say, you never want to submit something unless you fully read it. What if it says something that you don't do? What if it, completely made a mistake? But also going through and making sure it's something you would say, the facts are true, all of that, besides just humanizing it because it uses weird words. You never want to, just put something out there. But so let's ask it.
And yes, so you can say, your prompt is, humanize your technical response using um, the using everyday language, um, but also keeping some of the technical verbiage as well.
Yeah,
You
and I
know,
think it's also for what you're writing for. If you're sending this in an email to a contracting officer, maybe you want to kind of keep everyday language with some technical thing. If you are submitting this to a top level engineer, PhD, you need the technical. They understand that. You want to make sure you're writing for who your audience is, and that's the grant writer in me coming out. But I think it applies here as well.
so play around with this here. So this is an example of using sourcing opportunities. So we showed you that earlier, and then we showed you how you can quickly use AI to help you put together a proposal response. Ultimately, you want to write out this here. Take what AI give you as suggestions and ideas, and use it to help you to put out a whole bunch of proposal between now and the end of the fiscal year. So any questions from everybody who's joining us? If you're joining us live, if you have any questions about what we showed you so far, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about the second really important things that you should be doing during fourth quarter, which is getting sole source contracts. And we're going to cover that in a little bit here. But any questions about this here, put it in the chat area. If you're watching some replay, you can also put in the chat. We monitor the chats and the comments. And so even if you're not joining us live, you can also ask your questions at that time as well.
Yeah, so Santos said, Abraham, now nice cowboy hat.
Yes, I've
That
had
is
I have a hat collection. I've got about, my wife said I don't have enough hobbies. So I have about 30 plus hats now. I can't buy any more because I'm out of space. So. But I
That is
do want
so
to buy a
funny.
few more though.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and if we have time, after we do this, I would like to share or at least put the link in for one of my favorite gov contract, especially in the last fourth quarter, which is FedBid. I think it's Unisom Global now, but that's always a great one, when you're just trying to kind of get in and get some of that low hanging fruit.
Awesome. Yep. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to talk about the two most important things. We just covered the first one. Now we're going to talk about the second most important things you want to do during the fourth quarter. Again, this is not the time to build long-term relationship. This is not the time to go and knock on doors and say, "Hey, we wanted to get to know you and all this stuff." This is not the time for any of that. This is the time to crank out proposals and the time to get sole source contracts.
Yeah, so we
So,
had a question, and I put
mhm.
it on screen, but somebody asked, proposals with Gen AI is accepted? Question mark.
Proposals using AI.
Mm-hmm.
We just said earlier, do not submit any proposal using AI. You're using
Yes, you can.
AI as a tool to help you come up with ideas, the outline. You can borrow some of the verbiage, but you definitely, even after you tell it to humanize it or to use the vernacular to make it less technical or to whatever you use AI, you still have to go and make sure that it meets all of the requirements. The first thing is meet all the requirements. AI will not know, even though it knows a lot, it still may not know all of the requirements because only you, as an expert in your field, can better understand. And so, based upon the example that Lainey looked at earlier, you can have AI read through the solicitation, the statement of work, and look for create a summary of every instances where the word must is used to create a list of all the instances, all the sentences that have the word required. And so you can do all that, but AI can help you. But AI will not know exactly where it says you must do this, you must do this. There, some of the must is not important. Some of the must you must do those things there. So AI is a tool. You still have to go through it, read through it, borrow what AI gives you and then write it out in a more compliant manner. So that's the general answer.
Yeah, and we're kinda showing you, like we said, this is a tool, but you should always be reading through anything. I mean, even if maybe you have a proposal writing team that's helping you with the proposals, you still need to be reading through that to make sure, it has your name on it, has your company name on it. You wanna make sure that you're submitting what is right and correct.
Yep. All right. So let's shift to email marketing. Now, email marketing, not for marketing purposes, right? Email marketing so that you can get sole source during the fourth quarter. Yeah. Now, this is true if you are a certified women-owned business, veteran-owned business, HubZone, or 8A company. If you don't have any of these certifications, you can still have a teaming partnership with a company that have these certifications. You want to go through this sample here as a way to get sole source contract. So the step number one is go to SAM, find an opportunity, right? And then, once you find opportunity, you can do that by putting your next code or keywords. As you find the opportunity, you will see the name of the contracting officer and their email address or a point of contact. And so you want to build a list. So that's the first step. Once you do that, then you use this example email here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two different tools to show you how to quickly find opportunities. So the first tool I'm going to use is I'm going to use govgenie.com. And govgenie.com aggregates a whole bunch of opportunities from all the opportunity from Sam already. So I'm going to log in. If you don't have a GovGenie account, you can get set up to use GovGenie. And it will allow you to manage up to 30 bits without charging you. So it's free to get started. So I'm going to log in and I'm going to show you how to find opportunities and how to create a list of contracting officers. So now that I'm in, I'm gonna make sure I go to my demo account here. And once I'm in, I'm gonna click on the opportunity. I'm gonna go to contracts. And then I'm just going to use keywords. So let's assume I'm a project manager. And we do project management as a company, right? I'm just gonna look for some keywords and see what shows up. Now I can do it by NAICS code, right? I can do by NAICS code. I can do by a few different ways. And as I find these opportunities, I'm going to add them to my bid board. And by adding to my bid board, now I can see how, I can see the opportunities, the attachments. I can see the contracting officers. For the purpose of this exercise here, what I'm doing is I'm looking for specific. While this is pulling up, I'm gonna pull up another website. So I'm gonna show you two ways. So while GovGenie is pulling up, you can also do on sam.gov. So if I go to Sam, I'm gonna put in here project manager. Anything that has the word project manager. So this is, these are opportunities here. And let's assume I like this project here. Now, this is for, well, it depends on the type of project management you're in, right? Let's assume I like this project here. The goal here is not for me to bid on this project here. This is because we talked about sourcing opportunities to submit proposals earlier. Now I'm talking about how to identify potential contracting officers that may have some sole source opportunities for you. So I found this project at the very bottom. At the very bottom, it tells me who my point of contacts are. So my primary point of contact is Ezra Cohn. My alternate point of contact is Sean Jamerson. Typically, the second point of contact is usually the contracting officer, the contracting specialist. So this is usually the contracting specialist, and usually this is the contracting officer. Now you can email them both. I would email them separately because I wouldn't treat them as the same person. Now, phone calls can be okay, but they may not always answer their phones because they're busy right now. Again, we're not doing this here for relationship building. We're doing this here to get lucky because the email I'm sending to Sean, I'm just trying to find, I'm just trying to, Sean has a list of projects that they have to put out by the end of the fourth quarter. I'm trying to, hit Sean up or hit Ezra up to see if they have anything urgent that they're trying to sole source. That's what I'm doing. So now I have point of contact. So in your CRM, you want to start adding these people to your CRM. So this is one way of how you build a list. Now there's many other different ways of how you build a list. I'm just showing you. Not sure why it hasn't pulled up yet, but I'm gonna come in here 541512. This is an IT NAICS code. And so I found 3,898. And again, to me, it doesn't matter if this is an old project or a new project. It does not matter. But assuming I like this project, this is a little bit different from SAM, right? Because SAM.gov does not allow you to add it to your bid board. So if I like this project, I'm going to add it to my bid board and hit add. So intent to award, again, this is intent to award. I don't care that this person is awarding these projects. It doesn't matter to me, right? All I'm doing is I'm going to my bid board. Now, if this is a grant, then I will go to my grant board. In this situation, it's a contract. So I'm going to come to my contract. And the project I just added is right here. This is a project I just added here. Even though it's an intent to award, I don't care because all I'm interested in is the contracting officer's contact information. So when I come here, the link back to Sam is here. The email is here. The contract officer is here. So now I've got my list. And so this is who I'm going to email. So now I've shown you how to build your list. The next is I'm going to show you what to say when you're emailing these contracting officers during the fourth quarter. So your subject line could be anything like fourth quarter acquisition. It could be any other subject line that you want. I can actually put this in here, right? I can take this here and I can use AI to help me to come up with additional subject line as well. I can use AI to help me rewrite this email so that it's not this exact email that you're using, right? But let me show you the first step. First, I call the contracting officer by name. I say psychologically, I understand that friends do business with friends. Contracting officers have to normally trust you that you have capabilities before they sole source you a contract. So I usually call people by their first name. To me, it doesn't matter if they're a 4-star general or if they are a doctor or they are my friend Billy Bob, right? I call them by their first name because I know friends do business with friends. So I'm creating a level playing field that I treat you as a friend. Then my next sentence is, I know it's the fourth quarter and your time is limited. That's exactly why I'm sending you this email. I want to be a resource for you on any micro purchases, simplify acquisition, or sole source needs during this time. You can use us for these quick acquisitions. We specialize in 3 things. Do not put in here 20 different things. Why? Because we targeted this contracting officer based upon the NAICS code or based upon the keyword that we're interested in. So based upon this here, I'm going to say we specialize in software development, project management, and a few other, one other items. Because this email is specific to what that contracting officer is awarding contracts on. Now, a little bit of quick lesson. Micro purchases are any projects under 10,000. The current threshold is 10,000 or less. So I'm speaking the language of acquisition. I'm speaking the contracting officer's language. I'm speaking governese. And I'm saying anything you have that's under 10,000, I'm your go-to company. I'm saying simplify acquisitions. Simplify acquisitions as it relates to small businesses or any projects that's under $250,000. They understand that. I'm speaking their language, or sole source needs. And sole source are any project under $4.5 million that they can award to 8A company, women-owned, service-disabled, veteran-owned, or hub-zone company. So these are terminology that they understand. And then based upon your certification, so in here, I said, as a certified 8A company, we can respond very quickly to your sole source initiative per FAR 19803 or simplify acquisition needs under FAR 13. I can have my SBA boss send you a requirement letter as needed. If you are 8A company, now, if you are not an 8A certified company, you have to change the terminology a little bit. You may not use this here because not all certified company are assigned a BOS, and so you would take out this statement, and then in here you would say, as a certified EDWSB company, we can respond very quickly to your sole source initiatives per. You want to change this FAR regulation, right? So let's assume that you're not 8A. How do you find this clause here? So you want to go in here and you want to go to FAR sole source EDWSB. And then it will tell you, right? So the FAR sole source is under 19-1506. So this is the FAR that you want to reference. and not necessarily the 8A, because if you're not 8A certified, you're not going to use that far reference. So now I've referenced that, and so then I would say, let me know how our company can be of value to you during this busy time, and then your email signature, and then see attached capability statement. So this is a very simple email. You are emailing them specifically about a potential sole source, micro purchases, or simplified acquisition. That's what this fourth quarter. This is not a relationship building email, right? This is, I know you have a lot of opportunities. I'm your go-to company if you have anything that you need to get off your plate. That's what this email is all about. Now,
Yeah.
uh-huh.
And I was gonna say, I think it's important too to note that, you know, when you're doing this email marketing, you want to be sending this from your email and just to one contracting officer at a time, just because yes, we're not relationship building, but don't BCC a bunch of people. People know when they're BCC'd, or when it comes from a MailChimp or something like that. Find an opportunity, send it to one person. You can sit down and easily do 10 of these at one time, and it kind of takes no time once you get into the groove of it.
Very important comment. Do not email bulk email. You have to email
Mm.
it one contracting officer. If you don't care enough to send an email for a $4.5 million sole source, then why would they care enough to respond to you, right? And so you have to treat them as an individual, email them one at a time. And again, email, you don't want to email 200 in one day. You want to email about 10 to 20 a day. And that's all you want to do. And then you'll start to see that some of them will specifically have an urgent need, and they will respond back to you. Most of it, I would say 95, 98% of them, they will not respond at all. They might keep your capability statement and maybe respond to you in another month. But you're trying to get lucky, right? Again, we're not building relationship. We're just trying to get lucky with sole source contract at this time here. Now I'm going to
Yeah,
use
and
perplexity.
as
Go ahead.
after you show this perplexity example, we do have a question in the comments. It's kind of related to something else, so we'll finish this, and then I want to make sure we answer that before we end the podcast.
Okay. So I'm going to be marketing to some contracting officer for potential sole source projects. Please review the following sample email and come up with 10 potential subject lines. So I'm using AI because this is fourth quarter, right? I'm using AI to help me come up with other different subject line. Now that I've done that, it's giving me some example, right? And then I'm going to ask it to, I can attach the opportunity. I can say, hey, based upon my website, my capability statement, and this opportunity, give me three bullet items of what I should say what we specialize in. You can ask AI to help you all that. And then I'm going to ask, create 2 other sample emails for me to use based on the example I've closed here. So I'm asking it to rewrite this here. And then it's giving me some examples. So use AI so that you're not sending the same email over and over. If you're using the same email over and over, eventually Google or Microsoft, SharePoint, or any other email spam catcher is going to say, you send the same email over and over. This can potentially be spam. So, of the 20, you want to, let's assume you're sending 10 emails a day. You want to have like three variations of the same, pretty much the same email, but three variations to different contracting officer. But it says the message is about the same, and AI can help you adjust the message itself. So that gives us, so this is really what you're doing, right? Emailing to get lucky. Use this prompt here to help you. Now, for all of you who are joining us live, I'm going to give you a bonus. To I'm going to give you this email template as a bonus for joining us live. And so I'm going to copy the link here. Now, when you get this here, what you want to do is you want to click on the file, make a copy, then you can edit it and you can use it however you want to. So that's what you get for hanging out with us here live. If you're watching this on replay, reach out to us. We'll be happy to give it to you in replay as well. And then Lainey, you said that there's some questions or comments that people had.
Yeah, I'm just gonna share one more thing. This is kind of a little bit of a bonus. So Erica had heard me mention FedBid and that I wanted to talk about it. So it used to be called FedBid. It is now called Unisom Global or Unisom Marketplace. And so I'm going to share my screen just so you can see it. Just a quick overview. Just go to it. You can type in FedBid on Google. What this is a reverse auction bid for different for low-hanging fruit is what it is. It's for services. We are actually, I'm going to put the link in the chat next week. This will be one of the websites we kind of do a deep dive in. So make sure to come back and join us next week for our podcast. We're always here on Wednesdays from 11:30 to 12:30 Eastern Standard Time, and this is actually what we're looking at. We're looking at different GovCon websites and ones that you don't necessarily know about. But yeah, check this out. You'll kind of see the low hanging fruit, and like we said, it's reverse auction bid, so it's lowest price wins. There's I was gonna see if I don't think they have any food ones right now. There's food, professional services, construction. I've done some of the construction ones before where they're asking for certain, like this is gravel for Virginia, different things like that. But we'll definitely be doing a deep dive of this next week. So we hope to see you then. Thank you to everybody today that was able to join and comment. We are always so grateful for our listeners. And we hope you have a great rest of the week. And remember that you are only one grant away
and one contract away from all your goals, from the next employee that you want, from the dream house that you want. One grant, one contract away. And join the community, GovCon community, if you're not part of the community yet, so that you can get all the alerts of all the podcasts that we do, as well as all of the other events that we do here at the Government Contractors Association. Until then, have a good one, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone.